This video will offer a perspective that you have not yet considered. We all know that money is expanding, we all know that there is inflation, we all know that things are getting more expensive, we all know that houses go up over time. But why is that? How much do they go up? How can we actually benefit from all of this? This here is the inflation rate, how most people look at it. Officially we are at 3.4%, unofficially we are at 1.8% even. The interest rates with more than 5% are currently way higher than the inflation rate. So it does cost real money, real purchasing power to borrow money right now. But have you ever looked at the aggregated inflation rate? So this shows simply how prices are moving, not relative to the last year, but in aggregate. And this chart starts in 2021. Prices inflated a lot because of the COVID money handouts and because of less and less integration of global supply chains. But now they're coming down again since October of last year. And so with that trend, we could even potentially on an annualized basis see negative rates at some point. At least unofficially. Of course, officially we are still deep in 3.4%. Now prices long-term go up because money gets printed, and we can actually look at how much money is floating around with the measure called M2, the M2 money supply. And this is super useful because we can see, first of all, how fast does M2 expand, but also how does this compare to, for example, houses or stocks. This here is M2. And since 1975, this more than 20x'd. The annual growth rate is roughly 6.5%. This here is the house price index. Also since 1975. This did not do more than a 20x, this made an 11x. In other words, the money expands faster than house prices increase. If you own your house outright without any debt, then year over year you're actually losing purchasing power relative to everything else. Maybe not relative to consumer goods, which are easier and easier to produce, but definitely relative to education costs, definitely relative to medical costs, definitely relative to everything that matters. Now, if houses don't appreciate as quickly as the monetary base is expanding, then how do people get rich with real estate? The main problem with crypto YouTube is conflict of interest. Too many YouTubers shill garbage, promote garbage, and fill up their pockets in the background. Not this channel. Instead, there's simply the offer where I share my skills, my perspectives to you, and where I also share direct access to me, where you can ask me any questions. Feel free to check it out. The premium membership link is down below. The answer lies in debt, because most people that own houses have a lot of debt on them. They've got a mortgage on them, and the mortgage is denominated in US dollars, and US dollars deflate, US dollars get less and less valuable over time. Let's say you don't have to pay anything down. You finance it 100% with debt, and the debt devalues on average by 6.5% per year, and your interest rate is lower than that, then you do make money every year. But let's say you pay down 50% and you finance the other 50%, now you've got a way worse calculation. You're owning an asset that only appreciates half as quickly as monetary supply expands, and you don't devalue your debt fast enough. Thus, in order to win in this game, you have to have as much debt as possible, as much debt as you can bear, right? You do not want to default. There's no law in physics that say that money has to expand over time, that it has to devalue over time. It's simply just made this way to devalue debt. And so the government, of course, gains from this because the government has a lot of debt. But if you own a lot of debt, you gain from this as well. You do not gain from this if your income is fixed or if it doesn't appreciate by at least 6.5%. Those are the kinds of people that get squeezed here. In the end, it's all just built like a giant Ponzi scheme. Why else was the financial system in such big trouble when the prices in aggregate only went down by maybe 25% or so? Why did we need all those tax-driven bailouts? It's simply just because it's all just fantasy money. What's the main learning from this? It doesn't make sense to own rental properties outright. It might make sense to own your own property if you don't want to move, if you don't want to have a landlord that kicks you out. But simply just from a financial perspective, it doesn't make sense to own your property just like this because they don't appreciate as much as the monetary supply does. Owning property only makes sense with a mortgage, only makes sense when you've got devaluing debt. If you don't have that, then use this capital on something else. Use it maybe for the stock market. If you disagree with this take, then feel free to comment down below. I'm very much looking forward to the discussion in the comments. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. There's also a free Telegram. Link is down below.